Just an inquiry. When you studied three different
Land
use,
Yeah.
did you ever think of green vegetation fraction from NDVI as one of the controls for stream changes, etc.?
No, sir. I did not.
Perhaps, do you think that it would give some control? Because that's continuous. And in land use, you are doing from your own judgment, whereas this is all pixel based without any observer's bias.
No, of course, you are right. The land use is the NDVI is giving the basically health of ecosystem at that study area. But when we classify the land use, we are also validated by the ground truth. And second one, when we validated and classify the supervised classification, basically we provide that particular area have some kind of land use, and we feed that land use in the model and then classify. So, but direct NDVI, there is no option for SWAT model to direct giving the NDVI option of that. Thank you.
Okay. One quick question. Yeah. You have taken 3 time point LULC.
Yeah.
What is the accuracy level? Okay, that is one. Second, the previous speaker said land use has very little impact on all this.
Yeah.
Okay, but yours is 3.8 for the stream flow and 5.9% for the sediment. How you justify the previous presentation and the current presentation of yours?
Previous presentation of my colleagues?
Yes, said the land use land cover has hardly any impact on this.
No,
rather it's a climate pattern.
Sir, I want to clarify this one. She mentioned the land use impact is less in comparison to climate change. She did not say the land use impact is less only. She is compared with the climate change. Yeah.
Okay, I think we can stop here the discussion. Thanks for your presentation. So thanks to all the speakers. So we close here the session. This was the final presentation. And so we have a few minutes before the tea and coffee break. So thanks again to all speakers and attendance to the session.
Conference on 6th and crossed the 6 days, and we are at the verge of closing this conference. I would request Professor Ratandan Hanglu, the Vice Chancellor of Allahabad University, India, to come on the dais, and Professor Mauro Soldati, the Chairman of the closing ceremony, to come on the dais. Since 2013 September till November 2017, many of the geomorphologists of the world has left us. Professor Bojan Irhatic, Slovenia, Dr. Titu Angel, he was a IAG young geomorphologist from Romania, Professor Graham J. Chapman from UK, Professor Jean Collard Flagelot from France, Professor George Kukla from USA, Professor Julian Stanga from Romania, Professor Albert Pissart from Belgium, Professor Jesse Walker from USA, Professor Maurice Jorda from France, Professor Giuliano Rodolfi, Italy, Professor Michael Hermelin from Colombia, and Professor Gennady Ufimtsev from Russia, and many others. To condole of these departed souls, we will observe 1 minute silence. Thank you very much. Now I would request Professor Sunanda Bandyopadhyay of the University of Calcutta and the chairman of the technical committee of this 9th International Conference on Geomorphology to present a brief of the conference report.
In IGC 2017, the number of abstracts received were 763, out of which the conveners of the different committees, the technical sessions approved 740 abstracts, out of which 477 were approved for oral presentation and rest were for poster presentation. The total number of delegates actually attended the conference stand at 477, and they represented 44 countries, including India. Here we have a graphic that shows the delegation, the international representation of the delegates into India conference. This excludes the Indian participation of 172 delegates. Now, if we consider the total number of delegates, this stands as 64% of the entire number. And this is the country-wise breakup in map. And we find here that we had maximum delegation, apart from India, from Brazil and France, and closely followed by China and other European countries. Now, if we come to the presentations made and we divide them according to the sessions, this would give a rough idea if we arrange them according to the sessions, but I think this would be more intelligible, and it shows that the number of papers and posters presented in each of the sessions with the fluvial process landforms and topping the list. And this is the percentage of the total presentations which stand at 477. And closely followed by the glacial and periglacial geomorphology and the tectonic geomorphology. Actually, these sessions, ran into a number of, phases, and some continued for more than one day. Well, that's all. Oh yes, there's another thing I would just like to point out, is we had these field trips, and we had two pre-conference field trips, one at the Deccan Plateau and the Kerala at Rise, attended by 18 and 11 delegates respectively, and to be followed by 7 post-conference field trips, one for a course for young geomorphologists at the Dehradun and its surrounding localities, to be attended by 25 young people who were introduced here on day 1, and then to the Nepal Himalaya, again arranged according to the number of delegates, then to Darjeeling Himalaya, the hot desert, Kashmir Himalaya, and the semi-arid Gujarat. We also had 3 mid-conference trips, which some of the delegates attended, and they were to Taj Mahal and Agra Fort, attended by 181 delegates, followed by to the Nimrana Fort by 14, and a local trip that elaborated the Geomorphology of Delhi, attended by 40. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Sunanda Bandyopadhyay. Now, I would request our guest of honor of this closing ceremony, Professor Ratan Hanglu, the Vice Chancellor of Allahabad University, Allahabad, to deliver his address. Please. You can also speak from there.
Very good evening, everybody present in this hall. Mr. President, Professor Sordatta, Sondati, Professor Day, Professor Swinder Singh, Professor Siddiqui, my colleagues from Allahabad University, and the delegates who have come all over the world to attend this Congress. It gives me immense pleasure to know that this 9th Geomorphological Congress has done such a wonderful work. I was telling my colleagues that I happen to be here many times, in fact, in the same hall in connection with various congresses, conferences, but I hardly find that any of the academic congresses particularly, or a scientific congress, completes so successfully as the 9th Geomorphological Congress, as I see it. Friends, I am a historian, I am not a geomorphologist, but when we take up interdisciplinary approaches, even history cannot work unless we depend on geomorphology, geography, and various allied subjects. I sometimes feel I may not be correct, but I feel keeping the problems of today's world in view, the other sciences can wait, but research on geomorphology cannot wait. Because the population of the world is increasing, in which India is significantly contributing, apart from China and many other countries. The process of urbanization is going on with great speed all over the world. The changes in demography, one of the important aspects of migration from city to city, country to country, that's taking place. The necessity of new infrastructure, we find that there's a greater amount of incompatibility between the resources that we have and the resources that we require. And this is one of the greatest challenges before the community of illustrious geomorphologists, how to provide answers to these problems in our societies all over the world. Because when we look for increasing amount of food, if you look at least India, I would say, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, if you go, you have large patches in many states of India where arsenic water is influencing agriculture, where arsenic water is influencing human life. It's also influencing the life of others on this planet also. We have immense amount of pollution, immense amount of climatological problems, spectrography, and our policy planners, our governments, they need answers to these problems, And this is one community that can come up with answers to these problems. That's why I said that research in other sciences can wait, but research in geomorphology cannot wait. I sometimes feel, when for past 1 week, we have been declaring health emergencies in some states in India, particularly in Delhi, because of the fog, because of climatic problems, because of pollution. I sometimes feel that the geomorphologists should take up a challenge, because the soul of universe is under threat. Earlier it was the body of universe, but I would say the soul of universe is under threat. And it is the community of scientists present here who can really save this world by converting those challenges into opportunities and saving different countries, in fact, from excessive pollution, excessive climatic changes, process of urbanization, and other problems that confront us. Since I am not from your subject, let me tell you that achievement, or every achievement, begins with a desire. And the desire is very writ large here. If such a large community all over the world is present here for 6 days, transacting academic business in this hall, and coming up with various solutions, putting up new committees for organizing the future of this science, I think we can certainly take up these challenges. With all these words, I wish all the best for future of Geomorphologist Congress, and also congratulate all those people who have been elected and selected fellows of the Congress, including my illustrious colleague, Professor Suvinder Singh. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Professor Ratanlal Hanglu, the Vice Chancellor of Allahabad University. Now, I would request our outgoing executive committee members, I'll announce the name, and to please come on the dais seat on the right side. Unfortunately, Professor Eric Fuesch has left for his administrative activities. He has given his report, I'll read out afterwards. Vice President Professor Irasim Alcantara Ayla from Mexico. Vice President Professor Mauro Soldati, already sitting on the dais, from Italy. Vice President Professor Jioping Yang from China. Jioping Yang from China. I think he has left. And Secretary General me, so I am standing here. Treasurer Professor Morgan de Dapar. I think he is not also here. Oh. Not come because of his family illness, something. Now I would request to come on the dais Professor Asma Muhammad from UAE, Asma. And from Ethiopia, Professor Asrat, I think he didn't come. Professor Denis Mercier also could not come. Professor Piotr Migon. Professor Andrei Panin from Russia. Professor Piotr Migon from Poland. Professor Martha could not come. Professor Hitar Vils is in field in China, she could not come. Professor Chris Hauser, he has left USA for Canada. And Professor Louis Scuderi, USA. Professor Louis? No. Thank you very much. Now, as Professor Eric Fuesch has left, and he has given me his writing, just I'll read out on behalf of him. Dear Professor Savindra Singh, dear Professor Sunil Kumar De, dear members of the organizing committee, dear members of the IAG executive committee, dear delegates, dear participants, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to apologize for my absence tonight. I am requested early tomorrow morning in Abu Dhabi for professional reasons. So I had to change my flight to get there in time instead of enjoying my last moments here in Delhi with you. Be assured that I deeply regret it. From all points of view of this has been a very successful conference, and I wish to sincerely thank each and all of you for this achievement with the gala dinner last night and its climax. It's time for me to step down as president of the IAG. It has been an honor to serve the IAG together with a fantastic team. After yesterday's elections, you now have a new president, Professor Mauro Soldati from Italy, former vice president, as well as a new team, some members of which were already in the previous team. With the scientific and human qualities of its executive committee and the warmth of its president, I am confident that the IAG is on the right track to continue its activities and to pursue its scientific aims while overcoming its challenges. I wish Mauro and his team the best of luck for their term in the leadership of the IAG. Thank you. Now I would request the newly elected executive committee members to come on the dais. President Professor Mauro Soldati is already on the dais. Vice President Professor Susan Conway from UK. From this side. Slowly. And Professor Sunil Kumar Dey is me. I am standing here. Professor Francisco Gutierrez from Spain. Treasurer Professor Emmanuel Renard, he could not come. Publication Officer Professor Cosmos Pavlovas from Greece. Now it is the time for declaration of the venue of the 10th International Conference of Geomorphology, 221. And the country is Portugal. Oh, Mihai Micu, sorry, Secretary General. Sorry. I am very sorry. I am very sorry. Oh, Mihai is replacing me. He has become the Secretary General of the new Executive Committee. Now, this venue for the 10th International Conference on Geomorphology is 221 is Portugal. I would request to show the proposal to the audience by any Portugal representative, Thomas.
I'm the messenger, that's the only thing. So I would love to welcome you in 2021 in Portugal. And just to give you an idea of the location, I have, if the PowerPoint works with me and the mouse, a small movie. because of strict time regulations, I would like to go to the next slide. I think you have an idea. It's a beautiful university, one of the oldest universities in the world, especially in Europe, the University of Coimbra. So I would like to go to the next slide. So we would love to welcome you in 2021, and also the professor Antonio Vieira would like to say something towards all of you. And I need my mouse again. Oh, yes, there it is.
Fellow colleagues, I am Antonio Vieira and I'm the president of Portuguese Association of Geomorphologists. We would like you to consider our proposal to organize the 10th International Conference of Geomorphology to be held in 2021. In collaboration with the University of Coimbra, we are willing to promote this organization and gather geomorphologists from all over the world to share findings and concerns. The University of Coimbra, recently classified as UNESCO World Heritage, and the city of Coimbra have excellent conditions to welcome the conference. Our country has an enormous diversity of geomorphological environments, allowing you to experience activities and field trips related with the topics under discussion. We wish you enjoyed the conference there and hope to welcome you within 4 years.
Well, that was a message of Antonio. The location will be the University of Coimbra, and this is going to be the theme, Geomorphology and Global Change. It's going to be held in September, so we got enough time to arrange everything. So here you see organized by the Portuguese Association of Geomorphologists, and joint organizers is the Center of Study of Geography and Spatial Planning and the Department of Geography and Tourism, University of Coimbra. Organizing committee, I think you all can read the names. I will just keep it a while for you in place. These will do all the time and efforts in order to make it a great conference. And also the scientific committee comes from these countries to help out with the program. And yes, I'm Thomas. I work for the professional organizer MCI Group. It's a global company. We will help out to make it a successful congress, and let's try to make it even be bigger as well. Some other views to show you what the location is. As you can see, it is a beautiful location situated in the heart of an old city. It's, by the way, Coimbra is the third largest city of Portugal, next to Lisboa and Porto. Some interior, and here, as you can see, how would you like to come over to Coimbra? It's via the airports of Porto or Lisboa, and then you can take the bus or the train. A maximum destination is 210 from Lisboa, but by train should be considered quite easy. And also, because it's a big city, we don't have to be afraid of not enough place to sleep. A lot of hotels, a lot of restaurants around the location, so travel during the conference will be minor. And yes, we've all been thinking about the field trips as well. Serra do Gueres, Serra da Estrela, Algarve, Western Coastal, Minho, Cape Verde, Azores, and Madeira. I would like to thank you very much, and we would love to welcome you in 2021 in Portugal. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Now, the declaration of the venue of the regional conferences. I am glad to inform you that in between these two ICGs, this time we are going to organize two regional conferences. One is in Greece, 2019, and the other one is in Iran in 2020. I would request the representative from Greece to present.
Okay.
Automatically they are doing.
Dear colleagues, the regional conference will take place in Athens, entitled Geomorphology of Coastal Environment Process and Climate Change. Greece, maybe some of you don't know where is Greece. Greece is Southeast Europe, and the coastline is more than 16,000 kilometers, with the inhabited islands more than 200. The human habitation in the islands and the coastal areas of Greece is constant during the last 6,000 years. The first known civilization was the Cycladic, which was an early Bronze Age culture of the Cyclades, 3,200 years to 2,000 years BC. So Greece is the ideal place to study the geomorphological processes and the evolution of the coastal environments. You can see a picture from a coastal area of Santorini Island. These coastal processes have shaped the landscape and affected the human habitation and activities through time. You can see the submerged city of Pavlopetri. So, the conference will take place in Athens 2019. The organizers, the Greek Committee for Geomorphology and Environment of the Geological Society of Greece. The co-organizers, three famous universities, the National and Capodistria University of Athens, Aristotle University, University of Patras, and also the Hellenic Center for Marine Research. The conference dates will take place on September 20th to 23rd. There are two pre-conference field trips, one in Mykonos and Delos Islands, and another one in Santorini Island. And there is also a post-conference field trip to Rhodes Island in the memory of Paolo Piraggioli. This is a view of the Santorini caldera. Santorini is a famous volcanic island and a very touristic destination. Santorini Island is located in the center of the Aegean Sea. The geomorphology of the island is highly related with the presence of an active volcano. The participants will be introduced on the geomorphological and coastal evolution of the island, submarine geomorphology of the caldera, and visit the caldera, the active volcano, and the archaeological site of Santorini. These are the deposits after the blast of the Minoan eruption of Santorini volcano. This is a paleo soil covered by the sediments from this blast. The Santorini volcano, erosional processes in a famous beach of Santorini, Kokini Paralia. We are going to have a trip all around the caldera by boat. These are students of my university. And also we will see all the volcanic features around the caldera. And of course, we will enjoy the view from the city of Fira, which is the biggest city in Santorini Island. The next pre-conference field trip will take place in Mykonos and Delos Islands. Mykonos and Delos Islands are located to the north part of the Cyclades. The islands have a rich coastal geomorphology with evidence to relative sea level changes along with archaeological sites. The participant will be introduced on the geomorphological and coastal evolution of the islands. This is the Mykonos, Rhynia and Delos Islands. This is the port of the ancient city on Delos Island. This is the ancient city. Delos Island was the treasury of ancient Greece, a Roman city affected by the sea level rise, and of course, scuba diving. Of course, Mykonos Island is also a very good destination, and I think you can enjoy it. And finally, the post-conference field trip is dedicated to the memory of Paolo Pirazzoli, and it's called At the Footsteps of Paolo Pirazzoli, who worked in Rhodes Island and in many other places in Greece. The island is rich in geomorphological sea level indicators, mainly in the form of uplifted tidal notches, which reveal that Rhodes is composed of small crustal blocks, with each block being affected by the particular tectonic history. The participants will be introduced on the coastal and geomorphological evolution of the island, controlled by tectonics, its paleoseismicity history, and some marine geomorphology. This is the uplifted part of the island. This is the ancient city of Lindos, with uplifted tidal notches, and we welcome you all in Athens to 2019. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The next one is Iran. Dr. Adel Sfar has already left, but he has kept his presentation here. Just quickly, I will go through that one. The 18th largest country in the world in terms of area, a country of Central Eurasia, is in the Middle East, located in the northeastern shore of the Persian Gulf. And these are some of the glimpses of climatic zones, then geomorphic regions and all these things. It is not needed, I think, the annual report. So now Iran is the candidate for the regional conference for 2020. Thank you very much. Now declaration of the new and continuing working groups. We have got 3 proposals for new working groups. The first one is IGEO and IAG Commission or working groups. And the title is Anthropocene Geomorphology, Geoarchaeology, Geomorphology and Society. Both IAG and IGEO earlier groups will participate. Number 2, denudation and environmental changes in different morphoclimatic zones. And the chairman is Oshim Belej from Norway. And the third one is advancing theory and modeling of river systems. And the chairpersons are Heking Wang, China, Paul Curling, UK, and Ian Rutherford from Australia. So these are the new working groups approved by the Council of IAG. And The continuing working groups are landform assessment for geodiversity, Professor Jolinski from Poland, Professor Marco Giardino from Italy, submarine geomorphology, Aaron Michaela, Malta, and Sebastian Krestel from Germany, tropical rivers, and the chairman is Edgardo from USA, red beds and Dangxia geomorphology is Peng Hua from China, rocky coast geomorphology Stefano Furlani from Italy, and Luis Gomez Pujol from Spain, and Matt Stresleci from Poland. Geomorphosites Paolo Croza from Italy and Fabian Hoblia from France. Planetary geomorphology chair to be defined. Tectonic geomorphology Peter van der Beek from France. And geomorphological hazards Bianca Vieira and Mihai Micu. So these are the continuing working groups. Now declaration of the new National Scientific Committee members. We have got these 4 countries as our National Scientific Committee members. One is Cameroon, number 2 Iran, number 3 Nepal, and number 4 Turkey. Now this address by the newly elected president of the International Association of Geomorphology, Professor Maulo Soldati. I will request Professor Maulo Soldati to deliver his lecture.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, past and new Executive Committee members, geomorphologists, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I'm here with a great responsibility, but also with a great pleasure, and I really would like to do my best during these 4 years, not only for me, but for the entire geomorphological community that really need to continue to grow. This conference showed us that we have a great potential and we have to develop this. I believe that my election does not come only because of the activity I carried out within the IEG during the last year, but also in recognition of the activities carried out during these years by the Italian community, and I would like to thank very much the Italian Association of Physical Geography and Geomorphology, represented here by Paola Fredi, for the continuous support that they provided to me. The Italian group has been participating very actively during the last tens of years in IEG activities within international and regional conferences, contributing to and chairing working groups, and I believe that this election is also in recognition of the activity carried out by the Italian geomorphologists throughout the years. I believe also that my election is good news for the young geomorphologists. You may wonder why, but I was a young geomorphologist myself in 1997 when I first got to be involved officially in an IEG event. In that case, I'm talking about the workshop for young geomorphologists held during the international conference there in Bologna, Italy, and I was below 35 years old at that time, and I had the great chance to convene a session together with our first IEG president, Dennis Bransden, and we convened a session where there was a panel of distinguished geomorphologists that were available to discuss with young scientists. It was a very nice event. We were talking about current issues in geomorphological research, and I remember it as a very stimulating event that made me think that I would have needed to continue to be part of the IEG. So since then, I've been active within the IEG, and since 2002, I have been taking care as training officer of the program, the grant program that IEG has established since the Tokyo conference. And I'm glad and thankful, grateful to the past presidents who co-opted me until I became vice president 4 years ago. I worked hard and I enjoyed it anyway, and as we mentioned during the first General Assembly, that brought to results in terms of participation of young geomorphologists in our events, conferences, meetings, working groups, workshops, and we were able to award 170 young geomorphologists since 2001. So I believe it is a great achievement which could not have been obtained without the full support of the previous presidents and executive committees. So for this reason, I really would like to mention, especially to the young geomorphologists, and maybe for those of you who are new of our geomorphological community, who were the past presidents and where the past international conferences took place. We have been talking about the 9th ICG, which is this one, the new conference. The next conference has been introduced, that is the Portugal one, 2021, which will be the 10th. So we had the first conference in Manchester in 1985, and at that stage, those who would have become the founders of IEG started talking about setting a group, which then became an association. So at that time, they started also to work on our constitution, and the first president took his post in 1989 at the Frankfurt conference. This is Dennis Bransden, that I was very, very glad to see on the screen during the first General Assembly. He was with us, and I think it was a touching moment for all of us, especially for those who have known and worked with him. Then in 1993, up to the Bologna conference, we had Olaf Slaymaker, who was with us during these days. He had to leave this morning. He was our president. And then 1997, 2000, here for some reason, I think we missed Dietrich Barsch. I'm sorry for this. There is Dietrich Barsch was there until Bologna, and I should mention this because Dietrich Barsch was one of the first who really pushed on the importance of our program. And then Mario Panizza, who took the lead in Tokyo, and then Andrew Gowdy, Michael Crozier, who took a lead in Melbourne, and Eric Fouache, who took the lead in Paris in 2013. I had the chance to meet all of them, to talk with all of them, to get very important suggestions, and they are very big names. You may have, as young geomorphologists, studied on their books. They are outstanding geomorphologists. They are charismatic persons. So when I see this list, citing Professor Savindra Singh, who I heard during his speech, talking about his unconformability, feeling uncomfortable, I feel the same, even if I cannot pronounce this word very well, because these are really outstanding geomorphologists. What I can do is try to put in practice what I learned from all of them. And so what I would like to carry out, and what we as executive committee would like to carry out during these 4 years, is what I'm going to show you, trying to indicate our priorities. This has been shared this morning during the first executive committee meeting that we held with the new panel. So National scientific members is our first goal. We believe that during the last years, for some reasons, we lost that continuous contact and exchange that before for some times we had within the IEG. So we really think that we should reinforce or re-establish contacts with national delegates, establish new membership, especially from the less developing countries and less favored countries, and for this, the role of young geomorphologists is very important. Provide incentives that will be thought about by our committee to national delegates for their crucial service to the IEG. They should be, sometimes they are, and I hope they will be more and more involved in our activities. They will put efforts, spend time on the IEG activities, so we have to incentivize their work for all of us. And then I would like to recall any time, not only to the Executive Committee, not only to the national delegates, but to all of us, the document that is posted on the IEG website, geomorph.org, that was drafted by Michael Crozier, and it's entitled The Value of Membership. There you can find very excellent statements regarding why a country should be a member of the IEG. What is the value of this? So to take care of this portfolio, I invited Professor Francisco Gutierrez, one of our 3 vice presidents. Of course, he will need support from the General Secretary. Of course, it is also the duty, according to the Constitution, of the General Secretary to take care of the formal relationships with the national delegates, but this time we will try to do much more than this. So the General Secretary, Mihai Micu, will help him, and 2 co-opted members that I would like to introduce to you already now, and that I invite to come up here to the dais, and I'm referring to Takashi Oguchi from Japan, that is one of our co-opted members. His co-optation has been approved this morning by the Executive Committee. Takashi Oguchi has attended for many years international meetings. We all know him as a very prominent geomorphologist. He was chair of sessions during this conference. He is editor-in-chief of one of the most important journals in geomorphology, that is Geomorphology. So thank you very much, Takashi, for having accepted my invitation and the invitation of the Executive Committee. Takashi will take care of the relationship between the IEG Executive Committee and the Asian and Pacific countries to try to establish the best contacts possible and to establish new contacts. One of our aims is to get to Portugal, having increased the number of countries that are officially part of the IEG. And then another co-opted member who comes from Africa, and I invite to the dais Ghislaine Zangbo Teofogum from Cameroon. He's a geomorphologist that we got to know during the Paris conference. He was awarded with an IEG grant to participate in this event. And since he was very young at that time, he had the chance to apply for another grant for this conference, and he received this grant. Also thanks to the fact that in the meantime, he became the delegate for Cameroon, and he established a series of activities in his country, a series of excellent activities that were made known to the Executive Committee through reports sent every year. So I was telling that my election is good news for the young geomorphologists, but I believe that also the cooptation of Mihai is good news for them, as well as the presence of a Secretary General like Mihai Micu, who was formerly a young geomorphologist. He was granted, if I'm not wrong, to participate in a European Council course in Germany. If I'm not wrong, don't say it. Saragossa, in fact, I was wrong. Anyway, he was a young geomorphologist, and then the first young geomorphologist. He was awarded in Tokyo with a grant, and then he received another grant. He's the former General Secretary of ICG and presently Vice President. So this means that if you are really keen in working for the ICG, if you work hard, if you devote yourself to the ICG activities, eventually you can get a leading role, which is also a very rewarding role, I can tell you. So, second priority for us is communication, cooperation, and outreach, which is, of course, linked to the previous one if we refer to national delegates, but then it should not be limited to the national delegates, but in general, we have to try to manage, continue to manage our excellent website, which was developed by our webmaster, Marta Della Seta, during this term, and enrich it as much as possible, use the social media to spread the information about our initiatives and events, follow up with interaction that we established during the past terms with international bodies such as the EGU, IGU, INQA, IPA, and IUCN, establish cooperation with new international bodies, especially in America, both Northern and Southern America, and Latin America, and then in Australasia. Geomorphology outreach can also refer to and be addressed to public institutions, and we have also to take care about this. I am glad that our Vice President, Susan Conway, accepted my invitation to take care of this portfolio, and so she will act on this with the support, of course, of the Publication Officer, Cosmas Pavlopoulos, and with all the Executive Committee. Working groups. Working groups have been established since the beginning, since the birth of the ICG. Their establishment and functioning is ruled by the Constitution, and we would like to continue this activity, possibly strengthen the successful initiatives that we have carried out, and try to focus on some of the topical issues that were shown before. Just reading the titles of the new working groups makes you understand that we will really deal with new, innovative topics and topical issues. And then we have to maintain constant communication between EC members and the working group chairs, deliver regularly information on working group activities through our newsletter, website, social media. Some of these aspects may look a bit obvious to you, but sometimes it is not, so we really have to focus on that, and this is like a promise to you that we will try to take care of this. So working group activities will also be supported, as it was before, by the ICG training program. And this is the Vice Presidential portfolio of Sunil Kumar there, that I thank very much for having accepted my invitation. He will be supported by the Publication Officer, Training Officer, and Webmaster. So I would like to introduce to you the Training Officer, if she's not here today, Marta Della Seta. She was in the committee before as IG Webmaster, but she supported me in this very heavy task, but at the same time I want to underline this rewarding task of taking care of the training program. So I could share with her all the steps of and procedures that are behind this. So I think she's ready to take over the position of training officer, and she showed her availability to do this. So she's not here today. She's going to have a baby soon, but I would like to clap my hands to her as well. She will be with us very soon in person.